Using Jane's data and analysis, this demonstration showcases how analyzing Chinese financing of projects in Djibouti delivers a clearer understanding of how China uses its companies to project power and provides leverage to potentially control and influence stakeholders. With an emphasis on foreign policy and economic and financial activity, we examine how the Djibouti-Chinese relationship has developed over time. Located in the east of Africa and on the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which serves as a gateway to Africa, the Middle East, and Europe, Djibouti's geography is strategically important due to its proximity to the entrance of the Suez Canal, Arabian Sea, and Gulf of Aden, and the Indian Ocean. The importance of Djibouti to China is clear due to its access to major shipping lanes along the strait. About 10% of oil exports and 20% of the world's container shipping pass the Bab el-Mandeb Strait to and from the Suez Canal. China has been instrumental in the development of much of the country's infrastructure, which includes ports, special economic zones, and railways that carry cargo from landlocked Ethiopia, a model which is based upon China's own economic development framework. China's strategic investments in the country have improved Djibouti's ability to service China's maritime trading and military needs. However, questions have been raised over how the debt that has come alongside Chinese investment and is estimated to be over 70% of Djibouti's GDP will be repaid. We will now explore some of the transactions relating to Chinese activity in Djibouti that Janes has recorded since 2011. The first transaction recorded in 2011 was the financing and building of the Ethio-Djibouti Railway. Although it precedes its formalized existence, the project has characteristics of a classic Belt and Road Initiative transaction, estimated to cost $4 billion, with $2.5 billion in loans coming from Chinese policy banks. In early 2012, China purchases as a 23.5% stake in the port of Djibouti from the Djibouti Ports and Free Zones Authority for $185 million. This agreement includes a strategic partnership with local companies to develop and operate seaports, terminals, and other related businesses in Djibouti. Through this investment, Chinese state-owned organizations could gain influence and intelligence concerning trade flows and other regional activity, further improving China's standing and situational awareness in one of the world's most strategic locations. The Belt and Road Initiative, China's international engagement strategy, was formally announced in 2013. Investment in projects at that time focused on infrastructure with construction projects, technology, trade, and finance connectivity as key pillars in the Belt and Road strategy. Also in 2013, two Chinese state-owned organizations began construction on the first phase of the Doralay multipurpose port, which was intended to be an extension of the port of Djibouti. In 2014, China and Djibouti signed a bilateral security agreement. The same year, Chinese state-owned organizations were awarded $420 million contract for their first hydraulic project overseas with capability to accommodate 5 deep water berths at the Doralay Wharf, located near 2 U.S. military installations, Camp Lemonnier and Shibili Airport. Concerns were raised over its potential military use. 2015 and 2016 are key years for bilateral relations as China aims to make Djibouti a hub of Chinese activity in Africa, with investments in water supply projects, the establishment of China's first overseas military base, and the export of 2 Chinese aircraft to the Djibouti Armed Forces. In 2017, the Djibouti Free Trade Zone broke ground, which was built by a Chinese company and is partially owned by Chinese state-owned entities. By this point, the project had already received significant investment, with the intention of Djibouti becoming a trade gateway for Ethiopia, South Sudan, Somalia, and the Great Lakes region, as well as a unified customs system with China. In 2019, Africa's first Luban workshop is established in Djibouti, providing vocational training to locals focusing on transport and international trade logistics. Luban workshops serve as a means for the transfer of Chinese skills, technology, and standards overseas. There is a refinance of the loan to the Port of Djibouti SA again in 2019, and in 2023, a $1 billion joint agreement was signed by Chinese organizations and Djibouti for the development and operation of an international commercial spaceport in Djibouti with a 30-year co-management agreement. Using Jane's data and analysis, we have been able to demonstrate the influence that China has in the strategically important East African country of Djibouti, and how this has evolved over time. The data also shows how Chinese economic and financial statecraft, through its many state-supported entities, have, over time, expanded China's commercial and non-commercial interests in a strategically important geography. What originated as seemingly benign behavior in the trade and logistics sectors advantaged China and built a foundation to expand significant state interests, such as establishing China's first overseas military base. Janes delivers verified and validated data and analysis on how the economic and financial domain is used by state and non-state actors to project power, control, and influence abroad. Find out more today.